What's up, guys? Today we've got a little boot collection breakdown. I'm going to be going through my oldest to my newest boots, everything I've got on me right now, and I'm going to give you some insight about each one of these. So I hope you find this valuable. If you do, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, it goes a long way, and let's get right into the video. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Just going to grab a pair of boots. Oh, you know what? I said I was going to go oldest to newest. So yeah, these are pretty beat, but right here we've got some of the Copas. Yeah, I mean, you could just tell it was a mistake to get these in white, but yeah, they're pretty beat, and you can see in the back, like the heel is completely gone. That's why I had to stop wearing these actually. This was a really durable boot. You can see that the front actually never split, like you'll see in some of my other boots. The front always splits, and it's the reason I have to change them, but these never did that. So this is an AG pair of boots, and they were really durable. So I definitely like these. I really like the fusion skin, but after this model, I think these are like the 18.3s. After this model, the Copa started not fitting me right. They were too long at the front, and it left some space, and it was like really uncomfortable, and my touch felt worse in them because there was space in the front. So this was like the last model of Copas that I could wear, and I really like these boots because they feel like leather, but they're still not too heavy. Honestly, this was like such a nice boot. The reason I had to stop wearing these, otherwise I would probably still wear them today, I would just clean them and wear them today, is because the heel started wearing, and like this spot right here started getting blisters. So yeah, I would rate these like 8.5 out of 10. This was like one of my favorite boots. Let's see what we got next. Okay, next, oldest boot. Yep, right here. Okay, so this is the next year's version of the Copas. As you can see here, they're in not bad condition, but they did start splitting over here. Again, I got AG just because I usually was playing on AG at this time. But the problem with these was the sizing. This is the same size, 10.5, but when I put these on, there's space in the front. And so like my touch just fell off, and like when I'm juggling even, I can feel that there's space in the front that just makes my touch off. So this is why I stopped wearing the Copas, just because the sizing started being weird. But if it wasn't for that, like I still like the leather fusion skin feel to the upper, and the sole plate is nice. You know, I really do like these boots, but just the sizing started being off in this year's model. So I would probably have to give these like 6 out of 10 just because they were so difficult to play in. Moving on ahead, let's see, what do we have next? Yep, the last pair of Copas that I used are these FGs right here. I actually didn't wear these that much because this is actually the same boot as this one, the newer version of the Copas that I didn't like because they were too long. I got these just in a size smaller so that they would fit right at the front. But what ended up being the problem is that I went down a size to a 9.5, and they were just way too narrow. But I've worn these like maybe 15 times, so they're finally stretched out to my foot's width, and now they actually feel pretty good. So it's an FG pair of boots. I can wear this on grass, grass pitches, but it's way better than wearing the 10.5s that are too long. Just the only problem with these is that they're too narrow, but it's a super sick design on the boot. You know, these are the UCL Copas. So honestly, like they're kind of a cool boot just to have as a collectible. Definitely need a clean, but I would rate these again, 6.5, just because the design is cool. Let's see what we got next. Yes. So one of my favorite boots of all time. I actually wore these this year. These boots are less than a year old, and yeah, they look like they're 10 years old. That's partly because I didn't clean them enough, but honestly, they've held up very well. And these are the Tiempos, the Tiempo Legend 9s. Actually, no, these are the Tiempo Legend 10, sorry. It's the first Tiempo that's not leather. It's a Fly Touch Plus, which is what it's called. And I really like them. They're similar to the leather boots with the feel. They didn't lose that leather touch to them. They're light, they're not really heavy. I would say they're almost lighter than the Copas. It's a pretty similar boot, but it's from Nike. And just the comfort is what sets these apart. Especially if you have wide feet like me, the Tiempos are just a perfect go-to boot. I really like these. And with Nike, I always go, even if I'm playing on turf, I always go with FG studs, just because you still get the circular studs and you get these, diagonal, hexagonal studs at the back that helps you grip into turf. I only would tell you not to wear these if you play on some really thin turf. Otherwise, I would just wear FG Nike boots on turf. So yeah, I love these boots. I would give these a 9 out of 10. It's a shame that they're just old now, but I'm probably gonna get another pair of Tiempos pretty soon. What do we got next? Yep, this is another elite boot that I've worn, to be honest. The Mizuno Morelias. These are not made in Japan, but you don't need to get them in Japan. I think these were 180 for elite model Mizunos, so I think it's a pretty good price. They're FG. I wore them on turf again, but Mizunos have all circular studs on the FG boots, so it's pretty good for turf. I did notice that it was a little bit too much grabbing into the turf with the FG, so maybe if you wanted to go AG, it would be a good idea. But yeah, the sole plate on these is really good. It's firm. I like firm sole plates. And of course, it's a leather boot, so it does have like that Tiempo 9 feel to it, which I really like. And they're remarkably light for leather boots. Usually leather boots are heavy, but I think Mizuno did a really good job of getting a leather boot that's light. And in terms of durability, that's where these are lacking. They really didn't last a long time. I don't know if it's just me, but the front of the boot started to separate after like 2 months maybe. So it's like a super comfortable, really light, nice touch feel boot, but they do wear quickly, especially because they're leather. And if you're wearing them on turf, like they're just gonna wear even faster. So that's what I found in these. All in all, I would rate these like an 8.5 out of 10. I really like this boot, and I would probably get another one. Mizuno is just a top brand for boots. All right, next up, we got another Mizuno boot. This time, this is honestly probably my best boot as a collectible. These are the made in Japan Mizuno Alphas. So you can see here, they say Japan Spirit. Yeah, I mean, just like the colorway, even the details on like the laces. There's like some grippy stuff on the laces. They're a little bit shiny, like this super thin tongue. The thin boot itself, it's not leather obviously, but it's just so light and thin. It says on the side here, designed speed. I got the AG sole plate here. So you can see the difference between this sole plate and the Morelia sole plate. Look how many studs, don't know what this is. Look how many studs we have here. So these definitely feel better on turf. The pluses here are how light they are, and honestly just like how sick they are, because nobody's wearing these, let's be honest. And then what I really like is just the feel. They fit really well. They're like Mercurials if you have wide feet. Like if you have wide feet and you like the Mercurial idea but you can't wear them, get yourself some of the Alphas, because it's the same thing but they fit for wide feet. So for me, like the toe box is really good. The width was really good. The one thing I didn't like so much was the ankle area felt a little bit unstable because it's a really low boot. So like, I'm not sure if it was the studs, because recently I've been playing on turf using FG studs just because I like it better. I get more traction in the pitch. So playing with these, I did have a few times where my ankle just kind of felt a little bit wobbly in them. And I also had that problem with some Phantoms that I was wearing, which I currently don't have right now because I threw out. Those boots were honestly trash, the Phantoms. But yeah, the Morelias, like I really like them. The only downside, is just that the ankle area, I feel like it needs a little bit more stability, just for me personally. Now, oh yeah, and rating them, I'm gonna give these like a 9 out of 10. The only point I take off is because of the ankle stability, but everything else about this boot is like my favorite of all time, to be honest. So moving on, our second to last boot of the video. Again, I've worn these a lot, so you can see that they're worn, but I've got the Pred Elites, this with the tongue, of course. This is such a nice boot aesthetically. It's a shame that they're old now, so like the color isn't right, but when I got these new, they looked so fresh. It's an FG boot. I like what Adidas has done here for the sole plate on these. All of the studs are like hex shaped, so it's a little bit different from Nike, because Nike does just hex shaped in the back, and then they do circular up top. So all of these are hex shaped, and they dig in really well, especially on grass. I wore these on turf and I did not like them. They dug in too much and I felt like I was stuck on the field, but on grass these feel really good. So yeah, definitely a top sole plate. And then in terms of just aesthetically, like how you feel wearing these, they're sick. Like not many people are wearing these. They're just a different looking boot. They're a throwback boot. It's just cool to wear these. And then in terms of just like the material, I like the strike skin that they have. It's like slightly grippy, kind of like the other Preds that are out. And the design, with the 3 stripes, it's just a sick boot. So, and compared to the Morelias, it has a better heel area too. Like, see how this heel area is not as low as the Mizuno's. I just feel more locked in with these boots. The one thing that people complain about is that the entry, like the foot hole here, is huge. Like you can see like how big the space is here. Some people don't like that. Me personally, I've never had a problem with it. So all in all, if I had to rate these, one of my favorite boots as well, I'm gonna give it a 9. Just this version of the Pred is just so sick, super comfortable. The tongue adds a different feel to kicking the ball. 9 out of 10. And now the current boot that I'm using, drum roll, the Skechers Razors. I've been wearing these for like a month and a half, and they really surprised me. It's not a brand that you've seen so often. It's kind of getting popular now, but Skechers is really doing big things in the boot community. And these Skechers Razors, when I saw them in the boot store a few months ago, I saw them with a picture of Isco, because he's wearing them now, and Harry Kane, and I was like, I have to have these boots, because like, look how sick this chrome bottom is, let's be honest. And they have the chevron studs. Yeah, this boot is just really cool, and it's got a different kind of material. They call it hyper burst. There's carbon infusion in here, and it's like 2 different materials. I mean, Adidas has done this before. So like the toe box area is almost like, a Copa feel to it, kind of like fusion skinish feel. And then just the rest of the boot is like carbon infused, synthetic material. And it has this mesh tongue right here. So it doesn't have a separated tongue. It's like joint into the boot. So it's got this mesh, which is very breathable and kind of stretchy. So it's easy to get these on. And in terms of the width and the length, I really like these. I mean, for some people, they might not fit right, but for someone who has like a wider foot, I feel like, and just kind of a bigger foot in general, these fit really well. And then I love the lockdown on the ankle here. I feel like very stable in these boots with my ankles. So yeah, all in all, like just a top boot, and I'm really enjoying these right now. And they don't wear quickly. Like I've been wearing them for a month, and sure, they look a little bit just like dirty because I haven't washed them, but there's no separation at the front. And that's like a problem I always have, but these are very durable. So I think this is a really good find in the boot world right now. So if you're looking for a next boot, I would consider these, because this is a top boot at a very good price as well. So if I had to rate these, I'm gonna give them a 9 out of 10. We'll see in the future when I use them in some more games if I can push that rating up. But yeah, I'm really happy with these right now. That's my list. Those are all the boots that I have currently with me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Which of these would you like to try out? And of course, make sure you like this video and you subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one.